Now, micro-entrepreneurs in Nigeria have continued to lament the continued closure of the nation's land borders, saying it has taken its toll on their businesses. Is there a need to worry even amid a pandemic? We hope to bring some answers to all of these questions and lots more on the show. Welcome to Inside Business on Galaxy Television. I am Justin Akadonye. Well, thanks for staying with us. It was an interesting week in the world of business. Aside from several protests and reactions to the increase in fuel prices and electricity tariffs, some other stories took center stage in the world of business. Take a look.
The manufacturing sector spent over 67.38 billion naira on self-generated electricity, with energy costs accounting for over 38% of production cost in 2019. The sector has also suffered inadequate electricity supply and incessant increases in tariff without commensurate improvement in generation, transmission and distribution, which remain key challenges. Rising from his AGM media brief, President of MAN, Engineer Mansour Ahmed, says inventory of unsold finished manufactured products has risen to an all-time high of about 402.4 billion naira, confirming the reality that the disposable income of the consumers has been grossly eroded. He says manufacturers are still inundated with numerous, oftentimes duplication of demands from tiers of government in forms of taxes, levies, fees and permits, amongst others.
I cannot tell you the percentage of the total access to Forex because it changes from company to company. First of all, depending on what you are asking for and depending on what you are spending it on. You recall that the central bank has identified a number of priority inputs that it is willing to provide Forex for. It has identified a number of items that it will not provide any Forex for and so on. So this obviously means that different companies will have different levels of access depending on what they need it for and depending on how much they are also asking for. And also depending on the source of the Forex, because there are some windows until this new policy which enable those who are exporting also to use some of their Forex they are earning. The whole process is, yes, significant amount of demands of Forex is not being met. I can only assume at this stage that the figure or the percentage that is not being available is well over 40%, which means, of course, manufacturers cannot get the funds they require to keep their operations on full capacity.
The manufacturers say they are continually overwhelmed with multiple regulations from different regulatory agencies and excessive drive for revenue by government agencies. MAN says they are increasingly finding it difficult to source foreign exchange for the importation of raw materials, machinery and spares that are not available locally. Other challenges include dearth of trade facilitation infrastructure, poor access to the nation's seaports, and longer turnaround time for clearance of cargo, collectively stifling the smooth operations of manufacturing concerns. Following the revelation of the Debt Management Office (DMO) that Nigeria's total debt stock has risen in the last 3 months to 31.009 trillion naira from 28.628 trillion naira, an Abeokuta-based chartered accountant, Dr. Boyega Adeoye, has stressed the need for the blockage of loopholes that encourages borrowing as well as eliminate any form of wastages. Correspondent John Felix reports that the total debt figure comprises the debt stock of the federal government, 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory FCT. The chartered accountants noted that any borrowing that is made ought to have an impact analysis. He added that experts need to be brought on board whenever loan agreement negotiations are being made. Dr. Adeoye also added that corruption must be eliminated in the country, putting into consideration those in charge of negotiating Nigeria's contract.
But you see, do you know why we are borrowing? We are borrowing because of wastages. That's my answer. You can borrow if there is proper investment appraisal about the borrowing, and you do what we call impact assessment, that if we borrow this money, there will be this facility available for the people. What will be the impact? Let's spend money on things that we can see that this has added value, not just spending money on wastages.
Speaking further, the chartered accountant said the country can borrow if there is proper investment appraisal about the borrowing. He also advised that Nigeria should spend money on things that can be seen.
And then when we want to borrow, we need to structure our loan properly such that we can develop our local content. A situation where you borrow in one country, the disbursement is done in that country, every item is purchased from that country, the manpower from that country, you are going to run into trouble.
The Ogun State government says it has begun the process of harmonization of various taxes to further promote the ease of doing business in the state. The State Commissioner for Trade, Industry and Investment, Kike Lomo Alonge, made a promise while on tour of industries operating in the state as part of efforts at engaging critical stakeholders and assure them of government's commitment to conducive environment for business. The challenge of multiple taxation occasioned by various government agencies has been one of the major concerns of stakeholders, and government seems to be taking steps to address this.
Of this administration, His Excellency Prince Dr. Dakwabedu MFR has made it clear that it's important for him to improve the ease of doing business ratings of the state. We want to improve the business enabling environment in Ogun State. So what does this entail? It's understanding the pains, the experiences of businesses operating in our state. What are those challenges that they have, and addressing the challenges. One key challenge that has come out is the issue of multiplicity of taxes. In response to this, His Excellency set up a revenue harmonization committee, which was chaired by the Chief Economic Advisor to the state, and consisting of members from different MDAs that are revenue generating.
The Association of Micro Entrepreneurs, AMEN, which comprises various professionals, says the untold hardship caused by land border closure and the failure of the federal government to address some of these issues is causing a lot of suffering to Nigerians. On Inside Business today, I speak with Prince Xavier Ejay, AMEN president, as he shares some pertinent insight on some concerns and challenges concerning the SME sector in Nigeria. You're still watching Inside Business on Galaxy Television as we focus on the small and micro enterprises series. Joining us on the show this afternoon is Comrade Prince Xavier Ejay, and he is the president of the Association of Micro Entrepreneurs of Nigeria. Many thanks for joining us on Inside Business on Galaxy Television.
Thank you.
All right, let's just start from the hardship Nigerians are facing. You convened a protest not too long ago, and you were specific about the continuous closure of the Nigerian borders and how it has affected the businesses so far. Can you throw more light on that?
Yeah, thank you. On the issue of the border closure, we all are aware that since the closure of the border, the effects of the closure of the border have really hitting hard on our Nigerians. So the reasons whereby the government closed the border, even before such issue could have been taken, the stakeholder could have been consulted so we can be able to put it together and see how we're going to get it right. As it is, I want to be frank with you that the border closure have done a very much harm to Nigerian economy. Say for instance, most of the local manufacturers, what to produce, 75% of what to produce go through the land borders. Because the African countries, Nigeria is their main market. You just go through, you will see that what to produce, Nigerians consume only 25% of what we produce. Why the 75 goes through the land borders?
But in your opinion, do you really think it is the right time now to talk about reopening of the borders, what with the pandemic that the whole world is facing?
Yeah, as it is, the pandemic right now, there must be some medical check, right, of people coming into the country and people going out of the country to the borders. If governments have opened the international flights and the medical caution have been taken, so let it also be applicable in the land border.
Okay, right now let's talk about some other issues affecting the small and micro businesses in Nigeria. You know, a school of thought believes that the toll on the pandemic has not actually hit businesses right now, that over time in a few months would see the impact because Nigerians are actually using the store of the raw materials that they kept over the time. Do you agree with that?
Even for now, as an entrepreneur, despite I'm the president, I also have my own company. The stock, if anybody say that he has a stock, even before the pandemic, the local manufacturers find it so difficult, to survive. In fact, even before the many companies are afraid of because of the hardship, because of some policies that government put in place. As after the lockdown, as the lockdown is easy, many companies are afraid of how to be frank with you, because I receive continuous report of what is happening in the industry every day. My members complain to me almost every day, and I'm also in the system. So anybody that is saying that how many people? This is entrepreneur that some of them can, their capital base is not more than 20,000 naira. All right. So where would they have the money to even store the raw material? So is anybody telling that he has a stock? At our own level, we don't have any material to store, because we go to market every day. As we are producing, we are selling, we are going to the market every day. So we don't have such money to store chemicals.
One of the issues that affect small and medium scale enterprises in Nigeria is that of funding. A lot of people say they want to venture into a particular business, but when they talk of funding, they tend to go back and feel deterred. How would you really advise for starters, for startup companies who may want to go into a particular venture but is actually bedeviled by the issue of funding in Nigeria?
Well, the only advice I have for the incoming entrepreneurs is to look at other alternatives, right? Going to their family members, seek for financial assistance, or if they have any item or anything that they have to sell to raise money by themselves, because all the palliatives, the measure that the federal government, the Bank of Industry and the like, are telling Nigerians, they are all lies, right? They are all lies, because it's only on piece of newspaper or television that all this exists, right? So even before now, if actually the Bank of Industry, for instance, the millions or billions of naira they have been claimed that they are given to local manufacturers, we will not find ourselves in this type of condition. So those monies are not there. It's only on basis of newspaper. So my advice for anybody that wants to invest into business in Nigeria as a startup business is look other direction. If you are waiting for government, except by tomorrow they will change. But for now, even before now, if you just imagine, at the eve of the pandemic lockdown, the government of their wisdom know that the small business, because in fact we squandered all we have during the lockdown. Starting up will be a problem. At their wisdom, they bring some palliative, for small business owners, billions of naira every day. But I want to tell you that money is only on pieces of newspaper.
On the final note now, I need you to tell us, for the sake of people who are watching, if you were to advise the federal government or the state government specifically, what would you say needs to be done to ensure sanity in the SME sector, and so that they can have a conducive environment to thrive?
Well, to me, the only advice I have to give to the government on the issue of SMEs in Nigeria is to look inwards. The stakeholders, any policy that government want to back on, there's people on ground who can be able to at least contribute to their quota. You can't just bring a barrister and make him the Minister of Trade and Investment. What do you know about trade? What do you know about investments? There are people who are in the industry that you can be able to, who can be able to give you, advise you rightly on what to do. Right? So they should, their stakeholders. In Nigeria, we have associations. And we, as the president of the association, which I'm also a president, we all work together. We have a common agenda. We want to industrialize Nigeria. That is our agenda. Despite our names differs, but we meet all the time. We prosper our mind, and also, let's talk. We have a common WhatsApp group that we, that sometimes we have a joint press conference. All right. So the government, before they could take some issues, some critical issues. We are talking of economy, and no country economy grow without the help of the SMEs, because we are the highest employer of labor. Because most of us, what we use on skilled labor, right? So all these multinational companies, you see that there's a machine. They have one machine that about 30 people can do. But there's the SMEs. Instead of using that one machine, we employ 60 people. Because we don't have that financial muscle to acquire such machinery. So we use the on-skilled labor. So the government should carry the stakeholders along in any of their decisions.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, it's still Inside Business on Galaxy Television, and we have been speaking with Prince Xavier Ije. He is the president of the Association of Micro Entrepreneurs of Nigeria, and he's been talking to us about some of the challenges small businesses are facing in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, plus how the issue of border closure has affected businesses. Inside Business continues in a moment. Don't go away. That was Prince Iche of Amen discussing key issues that affect SME sector in Nigeria. Well, thanks for staying with us. A host of new and evolving cybersecurity threats has the information security industry on high alert. Ever more sophisticated cyber attacks involving malware, phishing, machine learning and artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency and more have placed the data and assets of corporations, governments and individuals at constant risk. Songoti Millet is a young entrepreneur who is passionate about cybersecurity. He joins us on Inside Business and he shares insight on the need to protect your business from cyber attacks. Take a look.
You see, awareness is the best strategy for cybersecurity, and the thing about it is that it is something that, because of the internet is fast growing, and the threat is increasing over time. Staying informed is the best strategy to cyber security. And another thing that we need to also take, we also need to consider is the fact that the internet is growing every day and the threats are also increasing. Every day, new kind of security threats comes, and we have to stay aware to understand what is it and what are the new approaches that these guys are taking. Yes, thank you so much for that. You see, the hackers are getting faster, they're working faster, and I need to let you understand something. You see, cyber criminals, cyber crime is a much more lucrative business than even drug right now. And because of that, they are paying a lot of attention into this. And in terms of awareness again, what we don't know about, we cannot protect ourselves against it. And every day, the new threats are coming out, they are updating themselves, and we also need to update ourselves, because if we don't, our antiviruses get outdated, and other security gadgets. I feel that even in our society, we pay so much attention to physical security than we pay to cyber security. And if we can do this, if we can pay more attention to it, we should be able to curb some of this. I mean, 5G is the technology infrastructure for the future, and the earlier we start to adopt it, is going to be the better for us. In terms of cyber security, we are going to be able to trace threats and be able to tell where it is exactly coming from. And this is the world where artificial intelligence and AOT is the in thing. And for AOT to be properly powered, we need 5G. We need the 5G infrastructure to be in place. And we are gradually looking at how this can get in. We are gradually looking at how we can get this into the country. I mean, they can only try their best. I know that they've been investing a lot of money in our technological infrastructures, and from the generation of 2G, we had 3G and we have 4G, and this has to do with various regions. It has to do with various regions, like if, for instance, Lagos, we have a lot of 4G. As they're implementing 4G in Lagos, they are moving the facilities that they had in Lagos before to some other states and all. And I know that the pace is, we have a pace, and we are actually doing well in terms of technological development. But I know that we can actually do much more better, and we can go faster. But with what we have right now, it is difficult for us to be able to track some information until we are able to implement 5G. There are lots of them, and we have various kind of people. Some feel it doesn't exist, some feel it exists and there's no way we can control it. Some feel, oh, I have the money, even if it happens to me, I can always get over it. Whichever way, cyber security is a threat to our existence, and some way, somehow, you will get affected. You get affected. Now, one of the major threats that we go through has to do with identity theft. Identity theft is a very common threat in our society right now, and the reason why is because our social media platforms identify us. We communicate a lot with our WhatsApp, we communicate a lot with our Facebook, we communicate a lot with our Instagram platforms, and with this, if anyone can have access to it, they can communicate on your behalf. I mean, the social media platform is really safe, and even a lot of new policies are being implemented on a daily basis. But the thing is, cybersecurity still has a lot to do with how sensitive we are to our information. Like, take for instance, someone sends you an email and tells you that, okay, it's from your bank, and you are supposed to click a button. Once you click a button, it takes you to your banking link to insert some information, or they ask you for your BVN. Now, how do you know? How do you know who you give your sensitive information to? It still has to do with us being properly sensitized and understanding the risk involved. And you know, when someone chats you up and says, okay, I am so person, I'm in trouble, I need you to send me blah 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 blah. What kind of precautions do you take before you send this information? This is very important in us protecting ourselves against cybercrime.
I trust you have been duly enlightened from our package this week. Many thanks for being a part of the show. I am Justin Akadonia.